Okay, so today we're going to unpack an ancient text that makes one of the boldest claims you've probably ever heard about human consciousness. Seriously, it's called the Satipatthana Sutta, and it basically lays out a direct path. You could almost call it a kind of technology for the mind that's designed to completely change our experience of life. So let's dive in and see what this path is all about and why it's considered so incredibly powerful. Right off the bat, this text does not mess around. It opens with this absolutely staggering promise. It's not saying, hey, here's one way to feel a little better. It's claiming this is the only way to end sorrow, to destroy suffering, to purify your entire being. I mean, that's an extraordinary claim, right? It really makes you stop and wonder, what could possibly deliver on a promise that big? So what is this path exactly? Well, the interesting thing is, it's not a belief system you have to adopt or some complex philosophy you need to debate. It's a direct, really practical training in awareness. The text lays it all out as a clear, systematic progression through 4 different areas of our experience. And here they are, the 4 foundations of mindfulness. It's a really logical progression when you think about it. We start with the most solid, tangible thing we have, our body. From there, we move to the constantly shifting weather of our feelings. Then, we zoom out to look at the overall state of our consciousness itself. And finally, we get into the nitty-gritty, the very thoughts and concepts that pop up in our mind. It's a journey from the most obvious to the most subtle. The entire practice begins right here, with the body. And you might ask, why the body? Well, it's because it's always here, right? It's in the present moment. It's the perfect anchor to ground our awareness before we start exploring the more, let's say, turbulent waters of the mind. The instructions for getting started are just beautifully simple. Find a quiet spot, sit upright, and bring your attention to the present moment. That's it. There are no special bells and whistles, no hoops to jump through. The practice is accessible to literally anyone, anywhere. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The core instruction is actually kind of radical. It's not about controlling your breath or trying to take deep, calming breaths. It's simply to know the breath, just as it is. When a breath is long, you just notice, that's a long breath. When it's short, you just know, okay, a short breath. It's this radical act of pure, non-judgmental observation. And what happens when you do this simple practice? The text says it leads to this state of non-clinging. That's the key takeaway for this first foundation. Your body is your anchor to right now. By just observing it, you start training your mind to let go of its constant grasping for the next thing, leading to this really profound sense of detachment. So once we've found our footing on the stable ground of the body, the practice expands. We now move on to the second foundation, feelings. This is where we learn to watch the constant emotional weather patterns that are always passing through us. You know, the joy, the sadness, the boredom, the whole range. The technique here is, once again, incredibly direct. When a feeling pops up, you don't start analyzing it, you don't get lost in the story behind it, you just note it. Is it pleasant? Is it painful? Or is it just kind of neutral? This simple act of labeling creates this little bit of space between you and the feeling, which keeps you from getting totally swept away by it.
And this quote right here, it gets to the heart of it. The whole goal is to establish this awareness that, a feeling exists. Just that. A painful feeling might be present, but it isn't you. So the big takeaway here is that feelings are just passing events. They're not your identity. By just labeling them simply, you start to get the freedom to observe them without being controlled by them.
Okay, now we zoom the camera out even further. After watching the body and individual feelings, we turn our awareness to the overall quality, the whole texture of consciousness itself. We start to ask, what state is my mind actually in right now? The sutta gives us these really clear, contrasting pairs to work with. The practice is just to know, is my mind colored by greed right now, or is it not? Is it agitated, or is it calm? Is it focused, or is it all over the place? The critical insight here is that you can observe the state of your mind just like you can check the weather outside. And just seeing it clearly, without judgment, is the first step to transforming those unhelpful mental climates into, clearer skies.
And this brings us to the final and probably the most subtle foundation, contemplating mental objects. This is where we look directly at the specific patterns, the mental habits, and the obstacles that show up in our stream of consciousness.
The text highlights what it calls the 5 hindrances. And these are pretty much the usual suspects that cloud up our thinking. You've got sense desire, that constant wanting of the next pleasant thing. Then there's anger, that pushback against what we don't like. Sloth and torpor, that heavy, foggy feeling when you just can't be bothered. Agitation and remorse, the restless, buzzing mind that won't settle down. And finally, doubt, that paralysis that stops us in our tracks. So how do we deal with them? The sutta gives us a super clear 3-step method. First, just know if a hindrance is there or not. Simple awareness. Second, get curious. Understand the conditions that make it show up. And third, know the conditions that make it go away. And here's the final key insight. You don't fight these hindrances, you understand them. By mindfully looking at how they arise and pass away, you learn to dismantle them from the inside out. You kind of become your own mind's physician.
So when you put all 4 of these foundations together, the body, feelings, mind states, and mental objects, what you get is a comprehensive map of your own consciousness. And according to this text, if you diligently apply this awareness, this is the very path that leads directly back to that incredible promise we heard at the very beginning.
And the text is shockingly specific about the results. It claims that if someone practices this consistently, they can expect profound results. The highest knowledge, or what we might call enlightenment, in 7 years. Or maybe a year. Or a month. Or, get this, it even says, in just 7 days. It's an incredible testament to the power of sustained, mindful attention. And so, we come full circle. This is the only way. Not for just, having a calmer life or being less stressed, though those are probably nice side effects, but for the ultimate goal, the attainment of nibbana, which means the complete final end of suffering and all of its causes.
The entire path, from start to finish, rests on this one single capacity that we all have, the ability to just pay attention, to simply observe our own experience without adding anything to it or taking anything away. So the question this ancient text really leaves us with is a personal one. What could you discover in your own body, your own feelings, your own mind, if you just decided to look?